Project seventh public webinar. I do hope you and your families are well. It is a delicate situation we are living, so I hope everyone is well. My name is Sergio from UNESCO, and I will be today's host. I'll be taking care of the logistics of this webinar together with Zara as well. And as you might know, Ruritage is a 4-year-long EU-funded research project. It was initiated in June 2018, and it aims to create a new paradigm for the regeneration of the rural space by using their unique cultural and natural heritage as a driver to boost sustainable development and increase competitiveness. In this webinar, our experts will present the unique way in which Ruritage is contributing to foster rural regeneration through the use of pilgrimage routes. For today, I will be presenting our speakers. So we have Cathy Andriot, which has been working for Compostela Pilgrim Ways Agency since the beginning of 2020. The agency is a national secular and professional association whose objective is to transmit the cultural heritage of the Santiago Pilgrim Ways and to promote the development of sustainable tourism for the benefit of the areas concerned. Before that, Cathy has worked for public institutions in France and Spain in fundraising and management of territorial development projects. She holds a master's degree in international economic affairs. The other present the other presenter is Joaquín García Álvarez from the Foundation Santa María la Real del Patrimonio Histórico, where since 2015 he's been developing work in different restoration interventions, territorial plans, and European projects. Among this work is the heritage care, which is focused on preventive conservation as the necessary tool for the preservation of our historical legacy, and the preventive conservation plan of the Royal Alcazar in Sevilla. Before that, he was in the Fundación del Patrimonio Histórico de Castilla y León. Joaquin is an architect graduated from University of Valladolid, where he's also a professor in the Masters of Heritage Management of the University of Salamanca. Chabos Costa is the other presenter from Via Maria Association. He is a 50-year-old engineer working for a leader, which is the local action group, as a project evaluator. He has some experiences as a pilgrim or a guide, but he's mainly offering backup support for the Via Maria Association as an organizer for events, making presentations or informal materials. He's got some days of pilgrimage routes in Via Maria in his baggage, and a taste of 15 kilometers of St. Olaf Way, and he's dreaming about doing El Camino, hoping that wish will be fulfilled sometimes. Then we have Antonia Weissenbacher, which studied geography at the University of Graz. She's working at the Geopark de Caravanken since 2015, and she's responsible for the Geopark Caravanken children's programs, which includes school networking, Geopark camps in summer, and for the hiking program. Since the beginning of her employment, she's also involved in various projects, for example, LEADER, Interreg, and Horizon 2020. So these are our presenters for today. I hope I have presented everybody in the right way. As you may have noticed, your mics are muted and they will remain so for the entire duration of the webinar. You can, however, write on the chat window and we'll take note of the comments or questions that you may have, and these will be put to our experts at the end of the webinar. The webinar is being recorded, such as the others, and you will be able to watch it later on our YouTube channel. Thank you very much, and I'll leave the floor to Cathy. Cathy, the floor is yours, and thank you very much for your participation.
Thank you, Sergio. Okay. I will start by giving you a general overview of the Heritage Project. Well, Sergio, I just mentioned a few information. Well, just to set the framework, Heritage is a 4-year project that started in 2018 and will last till 2022. It is funded by the Research and Development Program of the European Commission, Horizon 2020, and it has received 10 million euros funding. This is a big project that brings together 38 partners from EU and beyond, and it is a unique project funded on the topic of rural regeneration. We have in the project 3 different kinds of partners, 3 profiles, let's say. We have 13 role models in Europe and beyond. The role models have defined already an heritage-led regeneration strategy, and they bring together their experiences, their good practices, their knowledge, and their actions to the project. Then we have 6 replicators. The replicators are rural territories. They co-develop, they implement, they monitor large-scale demonstration projects for rural regeneration. And to develop their heritage-led regeneration strategy, the replicators are assisted by both the role models and the knowledge facilitator partners. This is a third profile of the partners that provide the replicators with tools, with advice or direct support. A call was organized within the project, and additional role models and replicators were selected to participate in the project and to enhance or develop a rural regeneration strategy. What is the Heritage Project about? Heritage Project starts from cultural and natural heritage. The objective is to demonstrate how cultural and natural heritage can merge as a driver of sustainable development. It establishes a new heritage-led rural regeneration paradigm able to transform rural areas into sustainable development demonstration laboratories through the enhancement of their unique cultural and natural potential. To do so, Heritage has identified 6 systemic innovation areas called SIAs that you can find here in the picture. We have pilgrimage, we have rural food, we have migration, art and festival, resilience, and landscape. There are differentiated innovation fields that can be used to define development strategy. What the pictures show here is that the SIAs work together and are closely connecting between each other, and they contribute to sustainable growth of rural areas and the rural communities, meaning that even if a rural area chooses to implement a rural regeneration strategy through the pilgrimage SIA, for instance, the other fields will be taken also into account. And the objective of today's webinar is to better explain, to better explore the pilgrimage SIA. So in the project, in the pilgrimage SIA, we have 3 role models. We have the Camino de Santiago in Castilla y León, which is a region of Spain. We have Via Maria in Romania, and we have also an additional role model, which is not represented here by a speaker, but it is a digital sanctuary project in Brazil. And each SIA has been analyzed in the framework of the methodology developed in the project to facilitate the knowledge transfer and the replication from role models to replicators. So we will see during this webinar how this process looks like. Analysis consists in understanding the addressed challenges of the role models, the key resources needed in order to promote rural regeneration, the degree of replicability of the actions undertaken, and what has worked, what has less worked, for example. So after analysis, the challenges shared by these role models are the following. We have the aging of the population. Population in the analyzed territory are mostly elderly people. These role models also face is depopulation, not only for emigration, but also for aging and natality decrease. And they also partially face unemployment and poverty, like lack of jobs, for example, in certain remote rural areas. So the objective of the project and this approach is to turn the identified challenges into opportunities and to experiment new forms of governance, new forms of collaboration, of activity in relation to pilgrimage routes, in order to maintain them alive, in order to maintain rural territories, rural communities alive, and local traditions alive. So we have observed that the common key drivers for a heritage-led regeneration plan identified within this SIA are tourism, are cultural heritage preservation and natural heritage preservation, and innovation in culture and heritage. The cultural and natural capitals represent strong assets within the different capitals involved to consider the sustainable growth in a rural area. You have here in this slide the 6 different capitals that are being taken into account in the heritage methodology, knowledge building methodology, that are cultural, natural, build, human, social, and financial. And all these forms of capitals can create a virtuous spiral of development. It is interesting here to observe how the role models have managed to transform their rich cultural natural capitals in other capitals by increasing collaboration, by increasing capacity building, for example, or new forms of governance, new jobs, or new services. COVID-19 pandemic has posed new challenges since many activities were put on hold. Within the project, several actions were collected, good practices in relation with the pilgrimage SIA, but also the other SIAs to face this pandemic. We have, for example, online tools for mental well-being that are activities that were being developed. And beyond the collection of resilience action by the Heritage Project, we have also observed that the pandemic, in a way, represents an opportunity to experiment new forms of governance. For example, to maintain services. There have been, for example, strong collaboration with local institutions, municipalities, or a stronger involvement of civil society to maintain services alive through pilgrimage routes. We have also observed a rising interest for the pilgrimage routes, especially this summer, because people tend to seek outdoor activities, open spaces, and healthy activities. I've put the link at the bottom of the slide, so you can go and have a look on the different collected actions. You can see here the main topics of gathered knowledge from role models to support replicators. They are mainly related to governance, to digitalization strategy, to tourism strategy, awareness among local community as well, and local economy closely connected with the pilgrimage routes. I will not enter in detail in this gathered knowledge, as the upcoming speakers representing both role models and replicators will further detail their process of rural regeneration. I will just end my presentation here by reminding you that the Compostela Pilgrimways Agency can act as a support in defining a tourist route or building a tourist offer in pilgrimage routes. That is part of our mission and our expertise as partner in the Heritage project. So feel free to contact us if you wish to boost your rural regeneration strategy through the pilgrimage routes. Well, I'm done with my part of the presentation. So Joaquin, you can follow the presentation. Thank you very much.
Joaquin, you need to unmute yourself first.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Kathy, and thank you everybody for being with us in this webinar. I'm here. I'm going to present you a little side of the Camino de Santiago, and I say a little because the only way to feel the Camino de Santiago is by doing it. So I encourage you to come here and make the Camino. Okay, the Camino de Santiago it's a route that it's more than 1,000 kilometers. Sorry. Let's see. Presentation, it's not running very smooth. Sorry for that. Okay. Okay, the Camino de Santiago, it's a long path that crosses all Spain through 1,000 kilometers. You can see that it has also a lot of branches that come from France. And the territory we are talking about, it's that related to Castilla y León. Castilla y León is a region that it's the biggest region in Spain, and the Camino goes through 400 kilometers in Castilla y León. It crosses 3 provinces, Burgos, Palencia, and León, and this regional territory possesses more than half of the Spanish historical heritage declared, and 9 World Heritage sites. Okay. Sorry, this is not going very smooth. Oh. Okay, the West goes across many different landscapes. The small and very small rural towns and some important cities, capital of the territory. The main economic activities are the public services, the hotel and commercial sector, that it's around 60%, industry, manufacturing and agriculture, and tourism industry that it's now in progress. In the map, you can see the main Camino, that it's the one that is declared as UNESCO World Heritage. But in Spain, there is a debate about the many caminos that goes to the main Camino, that is the French way of the Saint Jacques way. We have, you can see many branches that comes from every part from our region. This is Castilla y León, and it comes from many regions of Spain. But we are focused on the one that is declared as cultural heritage. We have a lot of different landscapes and assets that we can identify along the Camino. We have plains, mountains, vineyards, urban, small towns, high quality artistic heritage, hot and cold weather. Here at the down and right photo is the Catedral de Burgos, that they say there are only 2 stations, in winter and the train one. You can make the Camino walking in a group. There is there are many ways to live the Camino and to see the Camino. Okay, yeah, here we have some of the sign. This kind of sign was devised in the 1980s to identify and to try to put a common language to the Camino through the different regions in Spain, because the ones that started with the Camino were the Galicians, and then it goes through all the rest of the territory. Okay. Here we have the Camino has brought activity to some regions. Sorry for that. The presentation, it's not going so as smooth as I'd like. Has brought a lot of activity to some the places that crosses the Camino. It has brought wealthiness. It has brought a lot of contact with another cultures, and it's really a path of exchange of life and knowledge. Here, there is also at some moments a slight probability of chance of overcrowding, as you can see. These are the August and the summer season that many people do the Camino. Okay, our starting point. What were the challenges for the Camino? As Kathy was saying, we have a very big problem with the aging of population. That it's really it's very close to the population. It's one of the main challenges that rural areas are facing, not the urban areas. In Castilla y León, also the urban areas are facing this challenge, but they're mostly related with rural areas. We have also the stagnation of activity, and there is a very little economic and social dynamism, and there are disappearing the traditional economic sectors, intensive agriculture, and there is a very slow replacement by other initiatives. There is a very great concentration of economy and services in the urban biggest centers, and this last one, that is the one that is pointed by the arrow, is the main challenge that we have in the Camino, that we have a very heterogeneous resource, and in which participate numerous agents, and they are not always aligned. We have locals, we have regional governments, we have municipalities, we have the national government, we have economic different economic agents. Okay, our starting points and drivers were the implementation of innovation and new models in cultural heritage management, also with associative public-private bodies, integral plans, incorporation of technology. Also, the preservation and restoration of cultural heritage, improvement, new uses, cultural activities. And the tourism has been a very important driver, but it's also it has a very complex symbiosis between tourism and the cultural, spiritual nature of the Santiago Way. I want to stress here a thing that has been said to us by many of the stakeholders that we have talked with, and is that today the importance of the Santiago Way as a regenerator of economy and activity in the territory, it's only because there are pilgrims, and a pilgrim, it's not a tourist. That was highly stressed by many of the stakeholders and in the different meetings that we have had. And there are room for everybody in the Camino, but the pilgrim is the one that gives their nature to the Camino. Okay, this is the development strategy that the pathway to the Camino today has begun in the 60s, 70s of the past century, where the Spanish government has declared Santiago Way as an historic ensemble. There was a very high promotion from the Galicia diocese in a Jacobus year. And there has been a milestone, a very important milestone, that was the declaration by the European Council as the first European itinerary and the honorific title of European Major Streets. Then after that, there has come some other developments, and in the 1997, there was the declaration of the French way as as historical heritage in the UNESCO World Heritage Award. And in these last years, we have had a lot of promotion and development in policies around the Camino at national level, but also at the regional and local level. What were the barriers that they've encountered in all this trip? It was a bad initial state of conservation of buildings, the population we've been talking about, the lack of specific legislation. We have a very high sectorial division among institutions, different visions among many stakeholders involved. It's a point that comes out again and again, and not very clear definition of the private sector. And for the next future, we are facing we are facing right the contrary to tourist excesses and some overexploitation and loss of authenticity. What are our key resources? The cultural capital. It's almost obvious. We have a lot of historical heritage recognized and appreciated as an own identity, but we have also natural capital, built capital, because there are many shelters, infrastructures that are especially built for this pilgrimage experience. We have also the social capital. This is a very important question. The civil associations around the Camino that are very active and are right in the core of the feeling of the Camino and of the organization of the Camino and trying that the pilgrims feel the Camino in all its intensity. There are many associations that are working with volunteers that works only for the experience. We have also the human capital and the financial capital that many administrations and companies are interested in and have invested a huge amount of resources to make of this path what it is today. These are some examples of some of the milestones in the Camino. This is San Martin de Tours in Promised, a Romanesque, a jewel of the Romanesque style. We have the San Zoilo Monastery, that it's our hub, where the hub, the physical hub of the Heritage Project has been constituted. We have we have a Gaudí building in Astorga. Also, you have here a pilgrim shelter. We have also some of the stages of the Camino that disabled people is possible to make the way for disabled people. And we have also some the natural landscape that goes through mountains, through valleys, and through ways that are really amazing. And here we have the internationalization. Here you can see some Italian people who have signed the signal and led a message for all the ones that goes through the Camino. This is in the last part of the Castilla y León way. Okay, we have some good practices identified at the beginning of the project. We promoting a governance model with involvement of public and private bodies, develop heritage innovation as a monitoring innovation system, form a tourist body with a specific character of developing these resources, promote the restoration of old and used buildings. We have also study and research historic traces, digitalization of the pilgrimage route through websites, GIS maps, applications, foster training and employment, school workshops and internships, and support local farmers in offering these products to the pilgrims. These are the good practices that we have identified, and now we are working on the enhancement plan of the enhancement plan of our role model. We've been through the 3 workshops, the Constitution one, and the practices. Then there was a practices repository workshop, and in the end we have been worked on. We have worked on a last workshop where we have debate between all our stakeholders, all these good practices that we've been working on at the beginning of the project, but also on the actions that we foresee to apply in our hub, in our role model. This was the last one that we have held in a presence mode in the participatory workshop, where we have selected the good practices from other role models that we thought we can it can fit to our role model, and we can try to implement. So we have chosen improved services of ecomobility, improved services, ecomobility, Wi-Fi connection, tourism services. This was crucial for us because we have detected that the internet coverage in the rural territory is not as good as we would like. We also have selected the expand the offer of promoting ecotourism, support local farmers. So we have looked to other role models to try to select the best practices that we thought that we can implement in our role model. Other action, and there were other actions that were suggested because this come from the project, but with the stakeholders we have selected these things that we thought that were very, very important. We had to connect with locals, in the sense that we have the stakeholders detected that not all the locals have the real sense of the Camino. So we have to connect with the locals to express themselves the values of the Camino, to tell them the values of the Camino, and to tell them what is the Rural Touch project, to enhance that sense of belonging. And we have also identified during this COVID situation to try to promote the safety of the Camino through a safety plan. The participatory workshop established at the end that the hub is a place to find connection and coordinate needs and opportunities. Another thing that was stressed that we need feasible actions, not very big ideas, but we want short, small ideas, but they have to be credible and feasible. The actions must remain in the territory, and they have to enhance the sense of belonging. So the actions was the ones that are reflected here: identify and promote the values of the Camino, create a map of real connectivity, inclusion of technology to have good numbers of the Camino. We have to be able to have data, recovering the local food traditions, promote the cultural actions around the Camino, and create a task force to communicate the values of the Camino to the population. Create an emergency plan, profit the opportunity that the heritage brings to share needs and opportunities to all the stakeholders, because as I said before, there was a very heterogeneous plan, a very heterogeneous number of institutions, and there is an opportunity to gather all together around this Rural Touch project and communicate all these actions from the very beginning. Okay. Regarding the resilience, I have brought, and I finish here and let the floor to my colleagues. one action that has been developed was asked by an association and was developed by the regional government during the COVID. The city of León was locked down, and nobody can enter in the city. So the pilgrims, the Camino goes through León, so the pilgrims couldn't cross the Camino. So they have put a bus service to transfer or to bypass all these pilgrims from, you see this locality, Mansilla de las Mulas, to La Virgen del Camino, and bypass León, so they have no risk with this Camino. This has been possible thanks to the implication of this association, these civil associations that are in permanent contact with pilgrims and that connect it with the local and regional governments to be able to put this kind of services. And for me, this is all. I let the floor to my colleague in Via Maria.
Thank you very much. Welcome everybody. I hope I can be here. I want to make a very short presentation about the role model Via Maria from Harghita County, from Romania. I want to make a short presentation about Via Maria. That's a very important pilgrimage route in Central Eastern Europe. As you see, there is a map. This pilgrimage route binds four very important shrines of Mary. Czestochowa from Poland, Medjugorje from Bosnia-Herzegovina, Mariacer from Austria, and Chicxomiu-Șumuleu-Ciuc from Romania. And this way he has two different routes, and one is horizontal and the other is vertical, and crosses out 7 countries: Austria, Hungary, Romania, Slovakia, Poland, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina. The distances are different because from Mariacer to Chicxomiu, from Șumuleu-Ciuc, it's about 1,300 kilometers, and from Czestochowa to Medjugorje it's about 800 kilometers. But as you see in the previous presentation, there are in this path and the other paths too are several routes. And here in Harghita County, when we live, we are at the end point of the route. So a lot of paths are coming here from many directions, and this means only in our county are about 600 kilometers of routes. Talking some words about the Harghita County. Well, it's a very small county situated in the central part of Romania here, and it's inhabited mostly by Hungarian minority, about 83% of population. It's not a big county, and the population density is about 46 inhabitants per square kilometer. It's just 1% from the territory of Romania. It's medium developed. The majority of the inhabitants are living in rural area and making their living from activities connected to agriculture and food industry. I also have to tell that here are the Carpathians, so we are bordering the Carpathians. About 60% of territory of the county are in the mountainous area, and also we are covered by mountains, and mostly of the mountains are coniferous. Therefore, the county is called evergreen or evergreen land. Well, when it's mountains and there are coniferous, it means that it's cold. Frozy winters and chilly summers are here. Now it's about 0 degrees outside. The mountain's origin is volcanic, therefore there are several mineral water springs. Here only in our county are more than 2,000. Some of them are very famous, not only in Romania, but only in other countries too. In this image I can, how should I go back? No. Sorry. I had some very interesting pictures to show you, but I can't go back with this presentation. Oh, somebody helped me. Thank you. Here are some very beautiful views. First, you can see the Bicaz Gorge. It is a very famous and beautiful key. The second one is the Saint Anne Lake. It's a volcanic lake, unique in Europe. And nearby is in his twin crater, the Mohos Morph, is a turmorph. Here down is the Red Lake or the Killer Lake, which is a natural dam lake. It was formed in 1838, and it's natural. Here are some very famous pottery from our county, and here are a picture of old traditional peasant houses, very beautiful, and they are very useful in this area. And we would like to keep them because it gives a very good image to our countryside. Well, as a starting point, we have some rural challenges. As you heard, formerly here also the population and the aging population is present. Even if the county has very small population, the 23rd place in Romanian counties, not that is the problem. The problem is that population is getting older each year, and the population is still decreasing. Also, it's a problem that we have an unemployment rate above on the national average. Poverty. Well, it's a real problem because of lack of jobs, low level of incomes, the poor infrastructure causes people that they can't afford much things. And last but not least, the poor infrastructure. In Harghita County, the main roads, the railroads are not very well developed. This could be explained also with mountainous area. It's really very hard, or much more harder to make roads or railways in the mountains than in other places. So with these challenges, we had to go forward, and we are looking for our resources, what we have, what we can start with something. And first of all, we have to mention our cultural capital. Here in Csíksomlyó, as I presented earlier, the edge, the endway of the Via Mariae route, this is an important spiritual religious center from ancient times. 452 years ago, it's the tradition of Pentecostal pilgrimage. And it's very beautiful when villagers are going together with the cross of the village. That means Keresztolya, walking alone with the Christ, and in group. Well, in the past, probably the whole village was coming in that pilgrimage now, but still now a lot of people are participating in these pilgrimages. And also, as cultural capital, we have to mention that here the Hungarian minority has a very strong cultural identity. He is respecting of all traditions, and there are several institutions which are preserving these traditions, and they are organizing very interesting events with many participants. As other resource, we have to mention the natural capital. I mentioned already the forest, the green part of our county, but we have several protected areas, 32, and a lot of them belong to Nature 2000 network. And we have also a lot of mineral water springs. In the other hand, we have also built capital, many cultural heritage sites, like the Franciscan monastery from Csíksomlyó, Mikó Castle, or the fortified church from Dörzső, which is a UNESCO heritage site, and some other castles, not so big, but very interesting and very fine and good buildings from the past. And as social capital, we have to say that also the pilgrimage, when we started to develop it, it was involving with citizens, with the non-profit organization, and with involving volunteers, scouts, and therefore we can say that a lot of people are connected with this route, and we can rely on them. As our treasures, I have here some pictures. This is the Franciscan monastery. This is the very famous statue of Holy Mary. It has about 2.5 meters high, and it was carved in wood in 1510. This is a picture taken from the sky when it was the pilgrimage, when Pentecostal pilgrimage. Here, between these two hills, these are people. All. You cannot imagine what happened when about more than 400,000 people are together and are praying together, and they are just going there, taking part on a mass, and they are coming back. And nothing nothing else interesting happens there. Here, the picture below is presenting the people who are going together with a cross and with a flags of the church, and some of people are going to this pilgrimage wearing traditional secular costumes. This is a view of traditional secular gates. As key drivers for regeneration, we was looking for cultural heritage preservation, also natural heritage preservation as tourists. Maintaining, developing, giving new roles to all these, including in local touristic offers. We are always telling that here are places which need to be visited, landscape to be watched, food had to be tasted, and also a lot of people who have to meet. What barrier we encountered? Well, also the lack of legislation was a problem. To make pilgrimage routes and to make to put up signs has no legislative background, and there are also not any kind of law which regulate the pilgrimage accommodation. It's just like hotels or touristical accommodation sites. We also have vandalism. People are stealing symbols, are destroying signs. We have to work to change their mentality, to present that yes, this is a value for all of us, and we also have to educate people how to behave in the nature. We have religious diversity here in Via Maria. Catholic and Orthodox people are connected to. Holy Mary is adored and venerated by all. So it means this could be a linkage between two different churches. And we have also barrier, the safety, because a lot of bears are in Romania, and about 1,500 bears in Harghita County, which means one bear to each 4 square kilometers. It's a very big number, and could be a problem for visitors who can be scared. We never heard that pilgrim was attacked, but could be very scary. And the other problem are the dogs, the shepherd dogs, which pilgrims can meet on their road, and they afraid them. As good practice, we mentioned some to improve the services. We have a Wi-Fi connection in several places. We have hotels, we have bars and restaurants, we have maps, we have a radio signal and phone signal, and about 480 kilometers from Csíksomlyó to Hungarian border are mapped, and you can go there very safely. We are editing and still editing booklets, maintaining the web page, offering guidance, and you know, as more people walk along the path, more wants to write about their own experience. Everybody says, yes, I am going for myself, but after that he said, I will write a book for you about my experience. Well, this is the safety. The next good practice is about expanding the activities to make more interesting for the local community. We are organizing events for outdoor sports, excursions, or things like this, and this is very good because we are involving in this way local people, local enterprises, volunteers, and getting known by more people. Here is mentioned the Sacred Marathon for Christian Values and Peace, which is organized each year, and you can go it by bike or horseback riding, or by foot, running or walking. It's not just like sport. You are walking together with other people. You can meet other people. Another program is the school in different way. In Romania, it is a program in the scholar year when teachers have to organize 1 week in other way that keeping children in the classroom. And when Via Maria Association offered that we are taking out the children to 1-day pilgrimage, it was very welcome, because also teachers are conscious that this is not just an outdoor trip. We are showing the nature, we are showing how to behave in nature, and we are trying to connect them with the spiritual life too. And we also organize some thematical pilgrimages for example, for young people, in bicycle or ecumenical pilgrimage, or it was organized also for people who lost somebody they loved, widows or people like this. And the third good practice I want to mention here, creating a set of guide tours organized for travelers, and giving them something more than just a pilgrimage, just being in nature and just having the possibility to think about themselves, think about religion, think about God. It's about the sacral arts in Csíksomlyó, where we make exhibitions, concerts, workshops, and that was a very good experience for us too. I skipped one slide again. Thank you. We have also Pilgrim's Passport, fidelity card to involve local business into the project. We have these badges with Via Maria in several languages, and till now the most people who was taking advantage of the pilgrimage was only who was giving host for the pilgrims. But we would like to involve other peoples too, craftsmen, people who are offering other services, and having this credential with them could be an opportunity to take part in something bigger. What we want to continue to develop I wanted to go back to my last slide. We have an enhancement plan, promote the restoration of old and unused buildings. Let a lot of these buildings are along the Via Maria pilgrimage route. They could be part of the local heritage, built heritage, and even if now these buildings are in a very bad shape or going to turn in a bad shape, we consider that it would be a great loss for the local community and also for the image of the local view. Another plan is to support traditional activities. Well, in a workshop, all participants considered that it's a very big potential in local traditional activities. And if we are engaging rural communities to offer their activities to pilgrim, it's very useful and a great opportunity for both to use this to involve these small communities. And last but not least, we have to foster training in the employment with social workshops and internships, because it would be help to making young people proud to their nature, to their heritage, and to prevent also from fleeing their villages. So that was about role model Via Maria. Thank you for your attention. I give the floor for the next presenter.
Hello, and a very warm welcome from Geopark Karavanke. We are Replicator and Heritage Project for pilgrimage. The Karavanke UNESCO Global Geopark is an area which is spreading on 1,067 square kilometers, as you see, I hope, in the next slide. Yeah. Our geopark is cross-border geopark, which means that we are working in 14 municipalities, 9 in Austria and 5 in Slovenia, right at the border between Austria and Slovenia. You have to imagine that this border is very young, so until the 1920s, we did not have the border. So it's a really young border. The whole area is bilingual on the Austrian side. So in Austria, most 60% of the people are speaking Slovene as well, and it's also taught at schools. So it is a Slovene minority living in the area of the geopark. We have different goals in our geopark. We want to make people aware of our wonderful nature. The next slide is coming, I'm sure. I'm waiting. Yeah. We have an exceptional geological, natural, and cultural heritage. As you see, the left picture on the top is a dripstone cave. We also have really beautiful waterfalls. We have interesting cultural events like the wooden raft events on the River Drau. We have, and this you see on the bottom on the left-hand side, really interesting geological heritage, as the geopark is passing the Peri-Adriatic lineament, which is the fault zone between the European plate and the Adriatic plate. So we have earthquakes every now and then. So on Monday, we had the last earthquake, so it's everything moving. And here you see volcanic material that is actually should not be here, but it's here because of this fault zone. All the other area should actually be just limestone. And we have, of course, a lot of beautiful lakes and rivers. And on the right-hand side below, you see the old mining tradition on Austrian and on Slovenian side. And on the Slovenian side, we have we have a touristic use of this old mining tradition in a very various ways. So this is tradition now, not old-fashioned anymore, but really very special. So we are going on. I'm waiting for the next slide. The geoparks goals are we are trying to develop a sustainable tourism by recognition of the geological and the natural resources. And it's also the cultural and natural heritage, which is really important for us on the whole area of the 14 municipalities. In the beginning of this year, we were developing EGTC, which is the European organization that all these municipalities are working together. What is also our goal? We are trying to foster the awareness with the local inhabitants. We try to inform and educate people about the geopark, not just about the geopark, but about the local heritage. And this is most important, that people in the area, that they really know about the treasures in the area, and then they can give their knowledge to those people who come from abroad. We also have this very special story about this cross-border developments, and this cross-border makes us very unique and gives us the chance to tell people different stories. Stories are the thing that it's everything about. And as you see on the pictures, that we are working with young children and we are showing them our cultural treasures. This is the Hemmerberg Church with the excavations in the front. And we also have an information center where we are trying to tell people about the geological developments in our area. So. As Joaquin said, it's not working so smoothly. I thought it's just him who had this experience, but it's also me. I'm waiting now for the next slide. In 2013, we got a member of the European and the global geopark network, and which was very important, but more important, it was in 2015 that our geopark became member of the UNESCO Global Geoparks. At the moment, we have 161 geoparks in 44 countries worldwide, and there are 74 geoparks in 24 countries. Just to have an idea what our geopark is. And there are, in Europe, we have 4 cross-border geoparks in different regions. So I want to just pass the rural challenges. We were talking about them in Spain, in Romania, and it's nearly the same everywhere. In our area, we have this high rate of depopulation. For example, young people have just a really, really low chance to get good jobs when they stay in our area. So they just have to leave, and not very often they are going to come back. But this is something that it's also in the idea of the Geopark to, by working on the sustainable tourism, to get people from the inside the area the chance that they can work in the area. That's the idea in the back. As I mentioned, the population of the Geopark is approximately 53,000 people with a population density of 61.1 square kilometers. You have to imagine we have a very mountainous area, and the people are concentrated in the villages and in the small towns in the valleys. The unemployment rate is quite high. So this is also a really big challenge. The second point is the lack of the resources dedicated to maintaining the heritage. In these rural areas, it's difficult to get people, investors, moved to invest in local, in financing the renovation and the cultural heritage. And through this project, we are working on this, and it was a really good first step that we took in here. But this is a really big lack in our area. The next rural challenge that I want to talk about is I'm waiting. The lack of visibility and sense of belonging for the area. I have to explain this a bit. The cultural and natural heritage, which is already presented in the Geopark, is not really well known at the local level. And so we are working on spreading the knowledge about the cultural and natural heritage for the people in the area, that they can give the knowledge out to those people who come and visit us. And it's this is one point, and the other point is that they are really feel this this proud and this feeling of belonging to this area. This is something that we are working on hardly, and this is something it's it has to take a few more years, I think. The lack of cross-border cooperation between the inhabitants. You have to imagine in this area, a lot of Slovenian people are coming to Austria for working because it's very easy to access, and especially for young families, they are moving here, and their children, they can go to school here. This is very easy because I mentioned before that we are living in a bilingual area, so at school they are also teaching Slovene language. And so they are moving here, but the knowledge for Austrian people about the cultural and natural events, for example, are not well known on the Slovenian side. So our idea is to focus on the cooperation between the inhabitants so that they know in the area of the Geopark much more about each other and about their ideas, about that they get more and more in touch with each other. And the last point here on this slide is the lack of overview of what the area has to offer. This goes a bit together with the lack of visibility somehow, but it's important that people know what are the possibilities, what are the different accesses, what is possible to get on the touristic offers in our area, And as soon as people know, they can feel this proud, and they can boost and transport this knowledge to other people. I will go now to the lessons learned from the role models. You have to imagine we were lucky to visit our colleagues in Romania, so we were at Chicxulub, and we also have been to the Camino in February this year. And we had the chance in both areas to get an idea what pilgrimage is all linked with and what is meant. And we had a bit of a feeling. We both in both countries we could really feel a bit the path, because we had a short trip, and it was a good feeling to be a pilgrim for a day. And this is something that we want to transport now in our area as well. So from the colleagues from Camino de Santiago, we got this idea that for us it would fit really well to develop a mobile app. So it's the digitalization of the pilgrimage through websites, GIS, maps, and apps. That was the best practice idea. And now we are developing a mobile app. What does this consist of? So including into the app, we are putting all events on Austrian and on Slovenian side, so that the inhabitants, they can check where is happening what, and now all the people in the area, they know what is happening across the border, and they can join, of course, the different events. So this is something that we want, and we want to include more and more cross-border activities, so that when we're doing our hiking tours, we are crossing the border, because this is something that it's interesting. And as I said before, you can tell a lot of interesting stories by doing this. Second lessons learned from our role model is the lesson from, I'm waiting, from our colleagues. I think it's now the Romanian, yeah, from Via Maria. They gave us the idea to create a set of guided tours, organized travels, tailored or for different targets. We are now working, and now we were successful for this year. We promoted a pilgrimage tour for one day, not for the tourist in the first case, but for the locals. And this guided tour led us across or along this old pilgrimage route, this Hemma-Pilgerweg, and this route is sleeping at the moment. I mean, we have no pilgrims that are walking along this route, and now we want the locals that they get to know about this old pilgrimage route. And here we passed the Archaeological Pilgrimage Museum. We went to the Rosalia Cave. I will talk about this later on as well. We visited the local restaurant, and we also visited the local church and had a guided tour there with the priest. And it was a really good package, a good tour. And for the next year, we will go further and really talk to different schools or other groups from the area to go with them along this route, that they get to know about their area much more. The school group that I was walking with, they have never been there, although their home is about 20 kilometers away, but they have never been in this museum. They have never seen the Rosalia Cave. So we actually had some success, as I said. And for the next role model, It's Dare from Apulia in Italy. They are linked with preserving old traditions for innovating agri-food and production in Apulia. You have to imagine that they had this idea of defining of marketing and communication strategies for the products, and we thought for us it would be a really good idea to develop Geopark partners, which are the local producers. They are working together with the Geopark, and we are all sharing the Ruhrtage vision of that the local food is part of the local heritage. So we have now finished the catalog for the criteria. We are now going to find the local producers, and we are going to be set them as partners. When we are going on fairs, we are going to sell their products, and vice versa. They are also promoting the Geopark itself when they going somewhere on fairs or whatever. The idea is that among the local producers, the Geopark itself is going to be known, recognized as a booster for this whole region, and that the Geopark is also a platform for the local food heritage. And I think this is a really, really good idea for the future. The next role model, it's the Living City village of the Middle Age Visegrad in Hungary. They had this idea of the creation of a set of tourist packs composed by food-related activities, art, and naturalistic activities. And here we had the idea to design each year different tourist packs where we include the cross-border events and also different cultural experiences. We were working on this in this year. Unfortunately, this wooden raft was not ready in time, and then also the COVID situation was not really helpful with it. So for the next year, from May on, we want to offer a tourist pack where people are having a hiking tour, they're visiting the local museums, then they go to this wooden raft that you see on the slide here, and there they can enjoy the local cuisine, coming back to the point where we started at the beginning. And each year we want to add another pack, another cross-border pack, which should be including all these points that I mentioned: food, art, naturalistic activities. So in the Ruhrtage project, we developed a heritage-led regeneration plan, which was really helpful to find out what is actually necessary in our area, what are we going to work on. And I already mentioned the first one was the designing of the set of new touristic and cross-border packs. The second was the digital use, so of the Karawanken Geopark. And the third one that I will talk about more closely in a minute is the safeguarding and making the site of St. Hammer Mountains and Rosalia Cave accessible again. And the fourth is the selection of the Geopark partners. I was talking about that. And the fifth is the boost of the local identity and sense of belonging by experiencing the local heritage. This was the pilgrimage route. So we were now working the last 1 year on developing this through different workshops. We had participatory workshop, we had so many workshops, and within each workshop I had this feeling that we came closer and closer to the actual idea what is most useful for our region. And it was really helpful. And now I'm waiting for the next slide. Yeah. I said that I'm going to talk about this more closely. The safeguarding and making the site of the Sandhammer Mountains and Rosalia Cave accessible again. So when we were thinking about taking part at the Rootage project, we thought about our pilgrimage route, and we were thinking about our Sandhammer Mountain, which was actually at that moment closed down. It was in 2014 when there was a bad rock fall and everything was closed, and it is a place where hundreds of years people were coming, getting water and getting energy, whatever, and this was closed down, and the municipality was not able to get this big amount of money to do the renovation works. So then we said, okay, the idea of the Rootage project is a really good one. It's to foster the rural development, and within this we also renovated with 70,000 euros and protected the site. The site is now since September 2020 open again. We have not had the opening event, of course, because this is not allowed at the moment, but now all through the whole October and November time, people are walking there and enjoying this place again. And additionally, this Sandhammer Mountain was chosen for the third most beautiful place in whole Austria. So Rootage also had its part that this place got accessible and beautiful as before again, which is yeah, it's a big thank you to this whole idea and program. I'm waiting for some pictures that I want to show to you. This is on the left hand side, you see the St. Rosalia Cave, the chapel, which was built in 1912 because they built it because they were happy that the plague did not come here. There we have this spring on the second picture. The spring should be a healing spring, and here you see that the site was closed down and it was not accessible. It was not allowed to go there because, as you see, this rock falls. It was far too dangerous to go there, to go in there. And now I have got the new pictures. I hope they will appear in a minute. On these pictures, you will see that the rock is now covered with an iron net. You see this when you look here on the right picture where you see the people. That was the first group that I led there again. And they put here this iron net on top of the rock. So it's really safe. The protection has worked out really well. And yeah, I'm really happy that this action is done for the moment. And yeah, thank you very much for your attention. And I want to welcome you at our place and show you this third most beautiful place in Austria. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Antonia. Thank you, Joaquin, Kathy, and Chava for your presentations. Not sure if there's any questions from the audience that you would like to put on the chat. There is one just coming up for Joaquin. Just waiting for the text to show up. The question is, has there been any resistance from local stakeholders of the Camino when promoting it as a touristic destination?
Not the local stakeholders. Especially some of the associations, or the specific associations related with the real motivation of pilgrimage. Okay, there has been some resistance, but now I think there are always people that it's a little bit more hard to convince. But now almost everybody feels that there is a room for everybody in the Camino, even if we know that the main motivation of this pilgrimage route are pilgrims, and the essence of the Camino is a pilgrimage and a religious motivation. But the Camino has room for everyone, even if it's not a religious motivation that makes them go to that route. But yes, there has been sometimes a very hard resistance to accept the Camino as a touristic way, but the reality imposes to that, and the thing is, the work that we are doing is trying to get to all these people together. This is the real challenge.
Okay, thank you, Joaquin, for answering the question. If there aren't any other questions, then I think we've had a pretty long webinar, so I think we'll be closing for now. Thank you, everybody who participated. Thank you to our speakers, Joaquin, Antonia, Chaba, Kathy, and the recordings will be available soon on our webpage and on our YouTube. So if you want, you can then have a look at the webinar again, and I'll invite you all to check Ruritage's website. You will be able to find other webinars and a lot of other information on the project. Thank you very much to everyone, and I hope to see you on another opportunity. We'll be starting our webinars again next year in probably around February, but please pay attention to our social media. You'll be seeing announcements for it. Thank you very much, and have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.
Have a nice week.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.